Welcome back, Physical Science 20. This is the Waves on a String remote lab. So I'll go through what you need to know, or what you need to know in order to do this, and go through various instructions here. So this lab uses wave on a string simulation from the PhET interactive simulation site. Here's a direct link here, but we can find an easy way in how to do that. So learning goals: discuss wave properties using common vocabulary, predict the behavior of waves through varying mediums and at reflective endpoints. Use scientific vocabulary of wave properties and vocabulary. So develop your understanding, open up waves on a string, then investigate the wave behavior as you explore. Think about how you would describe waves and some reasons the waves might act in the way they do. So this first page here, we're going to start it. It looks something like this. And then what you're going to do on this first page is simply write a list of characteristics to describe the waves. Describe each characteristic in your own words so that any person can understand it. Use images to help. So just basically, what do you know now? How would you describe what's going on in this simulation when it looks like this? So later during the lab, you'll relate your own descriptions to scientific ones. It's important that you have your own words to begin your learning so you don't do any research yet. Also, learning is best when you make your own drawings. Perhaps you can insert images of your own drawings, etc. So right down here, you write some characteristics that you see happening over here. All right? Okay, so what we're going to do, so if we go to Google, just simply type in PhET. We can just simply do that. And yes, we want the sims, the simulations. And in particular, I could go here and just check physics, but up here we'll check physics. So that's where it is. And it'll be near the bottom, I believe. Near the bottom. So right there it is right here. Waves on a string. So that's what you want to click on. And then press play. And then we'll get what we want there. So you can see, oh, we can make a wave. Oh, that's kind of funky, isn't it? Kind of neat. So if we take a look back here, what we need to do. So here we have it. You can see I have certain things toggled on. And if I go to the next page, I can see exactly what I need. I want it to have oscillation. I want it to oscillate and have no end. So that's what I want to pick. So pick oscillate and have no end. And over here you can put it in normal or slow motion. And then you'll be investigating these other things such as amplitude, frequency, damping, tension. And what's needed here is that you can use rulers here. You can even drag them around if you want to move them around, etc. So you can do a lot of different things and actually get values off of here if you wanted to do that. All right. So let's just go back to here first of all, and let's see what we need to look at. So if I go back to the previous page, a couple of things I want to note is right here. You can see there's a dotted line right here. Oops, let me see if I can, yeah, let's just do it like this. Let's do it old school. So right here, so you see this dotted line going all the way through here? So that is called the equilibrium or rest position. So when it talks about measuring something from that equilibrium position, that's what we're talking about. Just if the wave was not moving at all, it would just be flat along that equilibrium positions. And of course, what you're going to be testing is this, 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 and this. Okay, so that's basically what the lab is made up of. Okay, so on the first page, again, you're using your words to describe what's happening here. So looking at this, so I just slow it down here. Let's get rid of the rulers again. You could talk about what's happening to the red, what's happening to the green dots, what do they appear to be doing, which way does the wave appear to be moving. Okay, so those are the kind of things that you need to talk about on that first page, over here on the bottom. Next page, so we have all of these settings. So in this part, we're going to be looking at, let's see, we're looking at adjusting the amplitude slider and seeing what happens. and define amplitude, and again, you could use Google to do that if you want. And then look at what happens to the waves as you change the amplitude. Then the next one is we're going to adjust the frequency slider. Okay? So if you look here, here's the amplitude slider, here's the frequency slider. So we're adjusting those and then noting what happens. Okay? And then, yes, we're going to adjust the tension slider. And what is tension? As it pertains to strings or waves, look at Google there, and that'll help you out. So again, the tension slider, that's this one right here over on the right. All right. Then the damping slider, that's the last one. Adjust that and say what happens there as well. So the damping slider, of course, is right here. All right, and then the next page. Let's see what we got. So hold the end of a real rope or the corner of a blanket. So if you don't have a rope in your house, just the corner of the blanket, shake it several times. How can you change the amplitude, whatever the amplitude means? How can you do it? Or how could you change the frequency of the wave? So you can like make a wave in a blanket or a towel or a rope if you have it. How could you change these things? By looking at what you're doing. Okay. Then use the simulation to show how your real experiment would look if you change the frequency. So how does it work? So if you change the frequency of the blanket or rope that you're adjusting, then what does it look like when we actually use the simulation? Because you can adjust the frequency. So you can make it higher or lower, etc. And on the next page, we have a wave generated at 0 seconds. It looked like this. 0.2 seconds later, it looked like this. So how would you describe what happens? Describe a few similarities and differences in the characteristics of the wave at the different times. So what's the same and what's different? So remember, it's like the wave that's on the first part is going out the window. So you should be able to describe what's going on there. And then lastly, at the end here, we have a test your understanding. There's a series of, let's see, 7 multiple choice questions. So after doing the lab, you should be able to do these as well. All right. So that's it. That's the entire investigation. And of course, you should have a copy of this. And I'll have a folder in Google Classroom where you can submit this assignment. All right. And of course, if you have any questions, please ask through email or Google Meet. All right. We'll see you again.